there's going to be a diverse spectrum of kids that come into Fountain Inn High School. And so can we meet the needs for all those students? We have direct kind of school to work pathways for them, all the way up through a master's or a PhD in electrical engineering, a pathway for them to participate in depending on what they might be interested in. So the curriculum side of that is a big challenge.
Good, excellent. I'll just mention here, you mentioned the SCMA, or the South Carolina Manufacturers Alliance earlier, and they should be a very, very good resource. And if they're not, you ought to hit them over the head with a hammer and say, all right, start providing us with some input, because they represent all of the manufacturers in South Carolina, from textile to automotive and so on and so forth. But they should be a good resource, and if they're not, I would hope you would keep us apprised, because somebody needs to make sure that they are doing that. And that's a good source. I know we've talked about mechatronics, manufacturing, medical, biotech, and all of that. Biotech and medical is sort of another area discrete from what I normally think of in terms of job creation, but I know that in Greenville County in particular, we're moving more and more towards a fairly robust biotech industry. And I've heard Sam Conduras and others talk about the developments, and you've heard Sam too, I'm sure, but are they responding very well to you in terms of, as you mentioned, the CNAs? And are there some things that we can do to prepare some kids? There are a lot of kids who might be very interested in the medical field. CNA, as you indicated, is sort of I started to say an entry drug, but I mean an entry-level position for folks to determine if they are interested in that or not. Is that something that is seeming to work? I mean, are the hospitals beginning to be interested in the process?
There's been some response there. We have a partnership with Prisma through Riverside High School that is an EMT program. Okay. And so those students second semester of their senior year can go. And we've expanded that partnership not through Prisma, but through Greenville Tech. Second semester of senior year, students can actually take both the courses required for EMT. And then as soon as they graduate and turn 18, if they meet those two things and have completed those courses, they can go straight and they can take that exam. And Greenville County EMS is ready to hire them right away. And so, and you mentioned SC Bio and Sam and those folks. They came to our steering committee meeting and have been a wealth of information for us. Invited us to their convention, and so it's been a good partnership as well.
Well, on the subject too of manufacturing, I know that manufacturing companies have to update their equipment on a fairly routine basis, some more than others, but to stay in business you have to. Is there a need, or are you finding cooperation or interest by manufacturers in either donating, loaning, or leasing equipment that is out of service but is still perfectly capable of being used as a teaching tool?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was just out at ZF Transmission last week, and they were showing us a $600,000 piece of equipment that is 16 months old, and it's out of date. And so they were talking to us. Now they can't, for some tax purposes, they can't make a donation to the school district because of the depreciation of the machinery. But he talked about, could we work on a situation where we might be able to loan that to the school and keep it in. So we're trying to work through some of those, and we're starting to see people come around. Again, manufacturing is pretty desperate, and so they're doing things that they haven't traditionally done, which is great for us.
And I think right now, along those lines, if companies are having trouble kind of justifying either donating or loaning or whatever equipment, there ought to be some ways to assess that or to address that, whether it's to the legislature or whomever. And if you'll keep us apprised there, if that's one of the problems you're running into, if you'll keep us involved and let us know, as a board, we can try to address that at higher levels sometimes. And I think that would be helpful potentially. I think I've covered most of the questions I had here, but I would say again that it is very good, and I'm glad that you're growing the program. The program is growing and expanding, and I think we have an opportunity here. And as most people may or may not realize, the upstate of South Carolina, and Greenville in particular, is sort of the mecca, if you will, the Research Triangle Park for manufacturing in many respects. And for us to continue to grow that, and it's a good area to grow, jobs that are coming into manufacturing are very high paying, as you know, and I think it's important for us to continue to work on everything we can from every possible angle to prepare these kids for the workplace. So thank you, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Chambliss. Okay. Ms. Grayson?
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell. So my question is about coding. I know we've got programming at 4 high schools, we've got basic computer science at another 4 high schools, and that it's probably not, you don't need a special place to do it. So that probably is why it's been pushed out to our high schools. But in this innovation and incubation center, is there going to be a place for rock star computer programmers.
Yep. So when we met with our IT and cybersecurity folks, they really emphasized to us that that's where that has to start. Those folks need some coding knowledge and information before they can do the other things in IT and cybersecurity. So we do anticipate that there would be some level one, right, or year one options specifically in coding. You know, South Carolina changed the requirements in terms of computer science requirements, and so our students are getting more exposure to coding through the high schools, but it'll be interesting to kind of see over the next couple of years. One of the problems we have there is now we have to hire teachers
Right,
that
there's
know and
teacher
understand
shortage.
how to code.
And then you have to have demand, and the kids think it's geeky, and
Right.
but as far as preparing for future jobs, I think it's going to be absolutely essential that we get coders out there to create jobs we don't even have yet. Okay, that's all I had. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Grayson. Ms. Levin as well.
Mr. Grayson, I had this underlined, cybersecurity, I had that underlined, and Ms. Grayson touched on that and exactly what I was going to ask. I think the uniqueness that you bring to the table, Mr. Williams, is that you've been a principal, so you have a rapport with the principals in all the high schools, and you know a lot of the middle school principals as well as the assistant superintendents. And you can get that word out to them and the importance of these career centers. See, a lot of parents think of manufacturing the way it was at the mills, and they have not changed the way of their thinking. And I think with your expertise and your knowledge and the vision that you have for this program to take it not just to the next level, but to several levels up, I think we're going in the right direction. And I really want you to work, and I know you are, with all the high school, middle schools, and so forth. And just like Mr. Shamley said, you've already reached the Michelins, and everyone are ICAR, Prisma, they're all involved. But I know you're going to go out in a lot of different other directions. And so I'm just going to make one remark, and it's a stupid one, but it might bring some value. So family members, we were taking a picture of a baby that has just been born in our family, and my granddaughter, and my mom, who's 92, is sitting there in the kitchen where my brother's taking a picture, and right behind her is a microwave. And he goes, no, we cannot do that picture in here, because when she's 10, they won't even know what a microwave is. So the moral of this story is we've got to be innovative, because what's happening now is dated. Like you said, this machinery that's 16 months old is dated. Well, we've got to think, where are we going to be in 10 or 15 years? And because everything is getting dated. This phone's been dated. His phone's dated. He's not dated, but his phone is. But anyway, with that being said, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Levin as well. Anybody else? I have a couple of questions. Do the teachers in the career centers, I see that you said something about soft skills. Are they teaching, interviewing, and all of that different stuff to go with what they're doing as far as the content area that they're teaching?
Yes, ma'am. For all CTE courses, those professional skills are embedded into their curriculum, just like the safety skills are embedded into the curriculum. We're taking it one step further with the microburst certification, in that there'll be a little bit more intensive instruction on those particular skills.
Okay.
That certification takes about 20 hours to complete, and so 20 hours of classwork over the course of the year.
Now, I know you said something about that y'all try to take the best students for the internships. A lot of average students have put out really good stuff too. So is it always the cream of the crop that you take? for those
We advertise
internships?
those to everyone, and our work-based learning coordinators go, and they make kind of presentations to different students, and the student applies, and then the company is able to select, just like they would in a real-world application and selection process. The company actually selects from their pool of candidates. So if 8 students interviewed for the internship program, they select one. We've had several companies come back after doing 8 interviews. We can't pick just one, give us 2 or give us 3, so.
Okay. And the springboard off of what Ms. Bush said when she was talking about the EMT, we need to make sure that how we treat these students, because, you know, when you are older and in a nursing home, you think these college-educated people gonna be taking care of you. No. So watch how you treat these students that are these average students and these students that are in these lower level jobs. Okay, I just wanted to springboard off of that. Are there any other questions? Okay, I need to get a motion. No, this.
No, this is information only. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Goodwin Caldwell. And Ms. Butch, I'm just so glad he didn't let that little gurney go down that hill. Or you would have had the ride of your life. Okay. Building and Grounds 4.0. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Sutton.
4.01 Facilities Project Report, Mr. Carlin.
Yes, sir.
You have any questions for
There's
Mr.
nothing to
Carlin?
provide specifically, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have regarding the report. I would like to make one complaint, and that is having to follow somebody like Eric every time is tough.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Nate?
We could solve that problem. All of the security entrances are complete. If it's blinking, no,
It's on.
solid.
If it's blinking, it's bad?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Yes, sir. Besides the one at Bryson Middle School, and that's going to take some additional funding.
You have the funding to do that?
I think that's going to be part of a future package.
I want to thank you for those facilities I told you about. You did address those, or somebody addressed those. And
Yes, sir. Thank you.
They're done, so that's all I have, Mr. Suddeth.
Mrs. Goodwin Caldwell?
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. I don't know what the list is in this area, but I guess you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was out the other morning about 6:15 and it was dark. And I saw kids standing in the dark. Have we ever thought about putting lights wherever the bus stops are? Have we ever thought about that? Because it was kids standing on the side of the road in the dark at their bus stops.
Because it's, they're not on our property, for one thing, and the other is, there's a constant, there's some stops that stay relatively the same from year to year, but there's a constant movement of stops.
Can we take that up? Because I didn't like seeing those kids standing on the side of the road
I understand
that time of
that,
morning in the dark.
But we can't put a utility pole and light up on property that's not ours.
Well, some neighborhoods don't have the lights in the neighborhoods. You have to, the homeowner has to get the lights
Yes.
on their property. So,
That would be up to
And
the neighborhood, or if it's within the boundaries of a municipality, it would be up to the municipality. There are some areas that are in unincorporated areas, but they're served by various public service districts. Some of them have their own lights.
is there any way we can look at it to see?
I mean, we certainly can encourage those entities that have that responsibility to do that, but it would be beyond our scope to be able to put lights up on property other than our own.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anyone else? If not, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Suddeth. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. The motion carries. The meeting has been adjourned, and we thank you all for being here. Good job.